This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Welcome to the Godless Rebelution. This is episode 174. Today is Friday, September 22. I am your bearded ginger host, Mr. Dan Ellis.
I'm Ryan Duffy. Fuck.
Two Ryans are here today.
It's better than one.
Is it?
Oh, it's double the pleasure, double the fun.
Did you do anything exciting over the last week, Ryan?
We filmed that short film this last weekend.
Oh, that's right. You said you were
took
up.
Yeah, we're up till we started around 9 o'clock on Saturday. We wrapped up around 4:30 a.m. on Sunday.
That's a long time, man. That's a long day.
I was running on pure adrenaline by the last 4 hours.
Have you finished editing? Are you doing the editing?
A buddy of mine did an edit of it this week.
Yeah.
Which was a thing of content because I thought I was editing it.
A point of contention?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Not a thing you weren't content with what he did.
Well, I am a little content with it because now like my weekend frees up a bit.
Oh, yeah? Or are you happy with the edit?
No, we got to change a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have him send me his timeline file so I can work on it too. So.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
That's about it.
Okay. And you, Mr. Mitchell?
Same old work.
Yeah.
Didn't do a whole lot of extra stuff. My Patriots are back on track, though.
They throw the ball?
They throw the ball.
They throw the ball. They tackle the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We had the Atheists of Utah. Well, it wasn't the Atheists of Utah Pride Festival. It was the Gay Pride Festival in Provo last weekend, which was the day after we recorded with Summer. She was fun.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
We'll have to have her back to talk about polyamory and stuff. But we did so Atheists of Utah had a booth at the Pride Festival, and we had quite a few people stop by to just chit-chat. Matt, you were there for a few of them. There was the one guy, the other bearded guy with the big hoops in his ears, who said he at one time was Mormon and then he was Catholic and then he was, he waffled. He said he is Muslim and then he said he was Muslim and...
He timmed you.
Well, and the guy liked the sound of his own voice.
Oh, yeah. I was not even going to be a part of that one.
Yeah, that's when you and Danielle walked off. And then you came back wondering if I needed to be saved from having this conversation with the guy. And I think we talked for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes and then he wandered away. But yeah, I had a hard time getting a word in with him. He was one of those, yeah, it's all just about love and respect for your fellow man. And, and Islam is this and Islam is that. And I asked him a couple questions about it and he's like, yeah, but that's not really the point. And I'm like, so really you're just making up your own religious beliefs then anyway?
It says that, but it doesn't really say that.
Yeah. There was another guy who stopped by who said that he is a elders quorum teacher, I believe is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very respectful in asking his questions. So for people who don't know, elders quorum is he's LDS. He teaches quote unquote elders, which are young men in the LDS church. Well, young men and old men, but you're considered an elder
at 18. If you
is it 18?
Yeah, if you get the Melchizedek priesthood.
Oh, okay, that's right. You get different priesthoods, different priesthood blessings bestowed upon you.
It's like a video game.
And then you get to learn the secret handshakes later in life and stuff.
But that's why missionaries are called elder.
Right. Okay. And he was interesting, I guess. I didn't pull any punches with him. Like when we're talking and he asked why we're atheists and, why we would not believe and the problems that we have with the LDS church. And I started talking about some of the LDS beliefs in particular. I focused on some of the recent LDS Church's releases of, what do they call them? The notes or the essays. The essays they released talking about the more contentious points of LDS doctrine and history. You know, they've had one on the first vision and polygamy and the history of not allowing blacks to hold the priesthood.
What about caffeine? Coca-Cola.
I don't know that they did an essay on that.
Okay.
But one of the things that they also released recently out on the LDS.org website is affirming their belief in the literal story of the Noachian flood.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked.
Like, they say, according to LDS official church doctrine, that they believe in the literal story of a 900-year-old man building a fucking boat and the whole world being flooded. And so I'm telling, he's asking about the problems I have with it. And I'm like, well, geez, there's so many problems. Where do I even start? I said, do you want to talk about, all of the different accounts of the first vision? Do you want to talk about blacks not being able to hold the priesthood? You want to talk about the church releasing information recently confirming their belief in a literal biblical flood? Where a man builds a boat and gathers animals from all corners of the globe to fit on a boat that floats around for however long. Like, that's clearly a ridiculous fucking story.
And it goes against everything we know in science.
Yeah. And so, I was very blunt and said, and of course that's a ridiculous belief to hold. And he just kind of smiled and shuffled a little bit. I think afterward we talked about, Matt and I talked about he may have been on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
He had some tics and stuff like that were a little telling. But yeah, he was nice. There was a younger guy who stopped by, and he actually came by the booth like 3 or 4 times. He'd come and talk to me, and he was really nice and friendly and asked me a bunch of questions about atheism. And
was this the guy right when I was leaving?
It might have been younger guy in a black jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was really, really nice.
Yeah, he was.
Just asked a bunch of questions.
Probably still is.
Oh, well, yeah. But he was nice that day, and yeah.
No, he's a dick now. Dude turned into a dick the next day.
But we'd talk for a little while, and then he'd wander away and he'd play with his phone. I think he was texting his wife back and forth, and then he'd come back and he'd chat some more, and like he wandered off for a little bit, and then he came back and he was talking about he was going to meet his wife for lunch at one of the local restaurants there that happened to be closed until later in the afternoon. He didn't know that they didn't serve lunch. Apparently, they only served dinner. At least on Saturday. So we chatted about that a little bit, chatted about his beliefs in the LDS faith. He works at LDS Church headquarters as an accountant.
Ooh. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. This came out later.
So he sees where all the money comes and goes.
Uh-huh. And so he didn't come out and say it, but from reading into our conversation and the things he said and just little things that he hinted at, it sounds like he's not a true believing Mormon these days.
Okay.
It sounded like he's probably on his way out. But we chit-chatted back and forth. He told me about his wife. He dragged her over to the booth to meet me, asked if we could be friends on Facebook. He's like, I just want to say you're a really nice guy, and I've really liked talking to you today. And
you don't have horns coming out of your head.
He's like, this has been really great. I love having these kind of conversations. He's like, I hope I didn't take up too much of your time or anything. I'm like, no, I love talking to people about this kind of stuff.
And that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Atheists of Utah, when we do the festivals and stuff, we get a double booth. So one booth space we use to sell merchandise and sign people up for memberships, that kind of stuff. And then we have a whole other booth space for it's a Ask an Atheist area where people can wander in and ask us any questions that they want. And I fucking love doing that. I love it. I love when people want to try to proselytize to me. I love when people
whenever I've
just
sat
come
in
and
that
ask me
booth,
questions.
I've never had anyone proselytize to me yet.
I love when people just walk by and, give us a thumbs up and a wave and say, my people, and thanks for being here and that kind of stuff. The Pride festivals are always just a ton of fun anyway. And then I get to talk to people about religion and why they believe what they believe and what they believe. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, there was the young guy, who was awesome. And then later in the day, so there were a couple points throughout the day where I wandered away from the booth and went to go use the bathroom, which was on the opposite corner of the square from where we were. And so part of the route that I took to the restroom was walking past the Mama Dragons booth.
Okay.
For those of you who are unaware of who or what the Mama Dragons are, it started out as an LDS group of mothers who, when the LDS Church made their announcement of a new church policy, I believe it was in 2013, either 2013 or 2014. It was the church's announcement of a new policy whereby
I thought it was more recent than that.
Children, no, it's been out since at least 2014.
Time flies.
Where children of gay parents are not allowed to be baptized into the church if they're living with those gay parents, and that they can only be baptized into the church after they turn 18, at which point they will also have to disavow their parents' lifestyle and not cohabitate with them.
And that's the shitty part.
Yeah. Well, and it makes victims of these children who haven't done anything even wrong in the church's eyes other than live with parents who happen to be gay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, these kids haven't done it. The kids may not be gay, but they won't allow them to be baptized because they live with their gay parents. You know, the church views the sins of the parents as somehow blackening or darkening the soul of this kid who can't be baptized until later, which is fucking bullshit. And so when the church did that, a bunch of LDS mothers who happen to have children who are members of the LGBTQ community banded together to offer support to children, to gay children, gay parents. It's basically parents and friends of lesbians and gays it started in the Mormon community. It has since expanded to members of all faiths. They allow all faiths to join them in their support for the LGBTQ community. But so my route was walking past their booth, and they do this thing at all of the festivals that they go to where they say free hugs, and they'll give you a sticker that you can put on your shirt that says, "I was hugged by a mama dragon." And of course, you know, I didn't know until last Saturday that it wasn't strictly an LDS thing anymore. And so, of course, with the LDS Church's history on gay issues, I have a big fucking problem with all of that, and I don't want to
building bridges and
Mormons building bridges, the Mama Dragons, all of that style of, oh no, it's all about love and acceptance, but don't be gay. Well, you can be gay, but just don't act gay.
Yeah.
Don't have any kind of sexual relations or intimate relations with somebody of the same sex, because then it's not just same-sex attraction. You're committing a homosexual act.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And God gets really sad about that. Okay. Gets super, super duper sad. So I've always had a huge problem with that. I understand it takes all types. So I appreciate at least some of the work they're doing, because it does help people, with support. It also, perhaps ironically, helps people out of the church because they realize that you can be accepting.
It's for sure better than
nothing.
Being the devout, true believing Mormon that shuns your kids or kicks them out onto the streets or whatever for being gay.
Absolutely.
It's definitely better than that.
Absolutely.
But it's not perfect for sure.
Yeah. So as you walk past the booth, you know, there's these ladies that are just standing out there, and you walk past and they're like, "Would you like a hug?" And I walked past, you know, 3 or 4 times, well, at least 4 times to and from the bathroom, and politely declined each time, just no thank you, and went back to our booth. So later in the day, I think it was about 4:00, one of the Mama Dragons was out doing her rounds, going to all of the different booths to see who was there and talk about the Mama Dragons and everything. And she just happened to stop by our booth. And she comes over to our booth and she's like, "Oh, the atheists are here. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that you're here supporting the gay community and blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Can I give you guys a hug?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And she said, "Oh, well, why not?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really, you know, take hugs unsolicited from strangers who I don't know for no good reason. You know, that's not a thing I do. You don't know me. I I hug people I know, and that's fine. And she's like, oh, okay, well, how about a fist bump or, you know, knuckles or something? I'm like, no, really, we're cool. You know, I'll just sit here and, you know, what, is there anything I can do for you? Do you have a question for me? This is our Ask an Atheist booth. And she said, well, I don't really know if I have a question for you. And I said, okay. She said, well, do you know about the mama dragons? And I said, well, I know a little bit about them at least. I said, so maybe you could tell me exactly what the mama dragons are and what you guys do. And she said, oh, well, you know, we're a group of mothers who are fiercely protective of our children who happen to be gay or lesbian. And, you know, we just try to offer support and love and be very welcoming of them. And I said, so, but this is, you know, you guys are all LDS, right? And she said, oh no, it's open to members of all faiths, you know, and, and so like, we're just fiercely protective of our gay kids, you know, and even more so than like a mama bear. So we're the mama dragons. We're really fiercely protective of our young kids. And I said, so how do you square that? I said, so are you LDS? And she said, well, yes, I am. But we have, Catholic mama dragons. And I think there's a couple atheist mama dragons. And, you know, so it's just, your religion really doesn't play into it at all. And I said, okay, but are you LDS? And she said, yes, I am. And I said, so how do you square that? How do you square being supportive of your, you know, gay or lesbian child? I said, do you still attend church regularly and pay tithing? And she said, yes. And I said, so how do you square that in your mind that the LDS church, who you are giving support to both in attendance and I'm sure, you know, doing volunteer work and charity work through them and giving them money, is telling you and your children that your children are lesser people, that they're not as good as you, that they can't be who they are and they're not accepting of them. And she started launching into all of this airy-fairy fucking bullshit about, well, that's not the God that I believe in. The God that I believe in is very warm and welcoming, and he knows everybody's heart, and he knows that my child is good, and he knows, and he's accepting, and he has only love for my child. And I said, well, but that's not what your church teaches.
Yep.
Your church would seek to ostracize your child, not only from the church, but from you as their parent. And if your child has kids, it would seek to ostracize any kids that they have that are straight away from your gay child when they're a parent of their own.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, well, you know, historically there's been some challenges to my faith, and there's been some things that I don't agree with the church, but, you know, there's a difference between what God says and what maybe some of his people in the church would say as flawed human beings. And I said, okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that after the policy was made, that there was some question about that. If it was just perhaps some of the church elders or people in the Quorum of the 12.
It at least answered a solid question about how the church actually feels about this, though.
Right. Yeah. And I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that after the policy was enacted and released, that it was out there for a little while, and there was some question about whether it came as the word of a flawed man or if it was actually handed down from God Almighty on high, who said, no, this is my will. And I said, I'm pretty sure that after they released the policy, the church has come out and said, no, this wasn't just a policy that was set by the Quorum of the 12. This was handed down by God. This is God's word. This is part of your doctrine now. And she said, yeah, well, I just don't know about that. I really don't know a whole lot about it. But, you know, like I said, it's just, I understand that people can make mistakes, and I think this was a big mistake, and it's something that I struggle with, but I'm just not sure about, you know, what they've said since then. I haven't really looked into it a whole lot. And our conversation just kind of shifted a little bit and, you know, took a couple other turns. And then she just said, okay, well, thanks for talking to me. And she wandered away. And after she left, I started replaying our conversation in my head and thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more angry I became, because it hit me that she just told me that she has a child who is gay or lesbian, and she's a mama dragon. They're fierce protectors of these kids. They're more fierce than mama bears.
Right.
They're so fierce. They're going to protect their kids. And she's a member of the LDS Church who hands down a policy that she doesn't fucking know what the policy is or where it came from. And during our conversation with her, I'm sorry, Ryan, but during our conversation with her, I said, you don't know about this? Like, this is a policy that's been out for quite a while. And she's like, yeah, I just haven't taken the time to look at it. And so as I was thinking about it more, I was like, this has been out a long time, right? We're not talking about this policy being released a week ago or 2 weeks or months or a few months.
We're talking a few years.
Yeah, it's been fucking years that this has been out, and years since the church has come out and clarified their position that this was the word of God saying this. And instead of researching that, she just doesn't bother because it would conflict with her religious beliefs that she wants to hang on to. And so she's prioritizing her shitty fucking religious beliefs over protecting her kid, and she's feigning participation then in this group that is supposed to be super supportive and really fierce about protecting their kids when she doesn't fucking know what the policy is.
She's definitely not being very fierce, and she's not even looking at the policies and keeping up on them and keeping a track of, hey, what's going on in the church? How's the church's stance on this? How can we help not manipulate it, but help them change it from the inside? Yeah.
Well, not only is she feigning support in the Mama Dragons, but she does damage to all three groups, right? She does damage to the Mama Dragons and also to the church, right? Because she's not being that core group of hardcore true believing Mormons that they're trying to get, because she's playing kind of wishy-washy with the rules. And also she's not being a true ally to the LGBT group because she's just like, I don't know. I'm still going to support the people who fucking hate you. Yeah. And I'm still going to give them money and time and all this. So she's just fucking up every group she's in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it just, like I said, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got that she is choosing to put her religion ahead of her kid while she's there talking to me about a fucking group who's supposed to be supporting them. That's their whole fucking mission. Yeah. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do.
She's supposed to be she's trying to be an activist for it. She's not even
And she doesn't know what the fucking policy is for her own goddamn church.
Yeah. I suspect she's lying about that. Because I think so. Well, at least it's a possibility. Because she knows clearly that's a dangerous road to go down with an atheist, because that opens her up to all kinds of inconsistencies and major criticisms. It's just easier to say, well, I just don't really know. Move on, rather than get into a deep discussion about, how that affects either her beliefs or this feigned support that she has for the LGBT community. So,
yeah, it just. Well, and then she's shitty, right? Because then she's lying about.
Yeah, she's definitely shitty.
like what a dirty shitbag. Like, she's not supporting her kid. And like I said, she's choosing her religion over her kid. She's supposed to be a group that's there to support children like her child. And she's not. She doesn't know what the fuck she's even talking about.
Yeah, she's not being an angry dragon. She wants a club to go make cookies with.
And to feign this support, to say she's doing what the LDS Church does, saying one thing and doing another.
She's doing what the LDS Church wants her to do.
What's that? Just remain a faithful
person, not paying attention to what they're actually putting out, not having your own opinion on it.
Yeah, and then go and spread all of these warm, touchy, fucking creepy ass vibes that don't align with actual church fucking teaching.
Right. But the church will latch onto those people and say, "Hey, look. These people here, they're Mormons. These Mormons here are supporting their gay kids and fighting for gay kids. And look at that. Look how awesome they are. Yeah. They're Mormon."
Yeah. It's talking out the side of your mouth, just being a shitty, terrible fucking human being. And that's the poison of religion, right? Is she's too fucking terrified to even examine what her own beliefs are.
Yeah.
She's too terrified to examine her own beliefs versus doing everything she can to protect her own child. That is the poison of religion.
Yeah.
That she chooses to do that rather than do everything she possibly can to protect her child. She sets part of it aside because that's more important. More important than her own fucking kids.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why I think she doesn't go there. I mean, because she knows there's that conflict and I think I'm speculating here, but it's possible that she might be afraid of finding out that she actually does put the church ahead of her kids, despite her outward appearance, you know?
And then that she would have to come to grips with that.
Yeah. And she doesn't want to have that part of her exposed, you know, which.
Well, but then how fucking terrible is it? Like, how old is her kid? Can her kid read? Can he go out and see what the church is saying and doing, what the actual policy is, and then sees his mom continue contributing to this church? That his mother is choosing the church over being as supportive as she can of him? Like, how fucking terrible would that make you feel as a kid? To know that your parents are like, she's telling you, oh no, honey, I love you. I'll do anything and everything that I can to protect you and to keep you safe and be your mama dragon and be supportive of you. And then you find out what is actually going on. How is that going to make her kid feel?
Well, that kid later on in life is going to turn to be a Donald Trump.
I think kids are pretty good at separating all of that stuff out, you know, and I think, you know, whatever other evidence there is at home, you know, in their home life, you know, they'll know exactly how much support they have from her and what they don't or whatever, despite what she says. They're pretty good at picking up on that kind of stuff. And again, it's way better than kicking them out and just taking a total hard line right with the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that kind of speaking out of both sides of your mouth bullshit is, it's kind of annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's terrific that she's
dishonest.
That she's at least saying that she supports her kid and that she's doing, you know, something to help with the situation versus a parent who would just kick them out. It's the perniciousness and the damaging effects of religion that just really drove itself home right there to let me and the rest of the world know that it doesn't matter how much she loves her kid, how much she wants to protect him. Her religion is still fucking poisoning her life.
Well, did you hold back on her at the Pride Fest? Or did you let all this stuff fly there too?
No, I didn't as I said, she, you know, we had a fairly decent conversation and she wandered off and then it was just me thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more angry I became. Mm-hmm. And I've just been stewing about it all week long. And when I got home, I ranted and raved and yelled in the kitchen while I was telling Tracy all about it. And just all week long, I've been holding on to this thing. I thought at a couple points throughout the week, I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go downstairs and record something. And then I thought, well, I'll write a big thing. And I was going to do that today. I was going to write out everything that I wanted to say about it. But that got derailed when our database and reporting engine blew up at work and I had to do a bunch. Work. I had to work a couple hours past my ending time, and I'll probably be working later this weekend or on Monday. That's supposed to be my day off to fix a problem that somebody else created for me.
Fuck you, Damn.
So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, that was my weekend and week just stewing on that all fucking week long.
Well, now you got it out.
Yay.
Hi, this is Yvette Dontremont, aka the Cybabe, and you're listening to Godless Rebelution. You can find me at cybabe.com, at my Twitter account at the Cybabe, and if you've hunt really hard, you can find me at Pornhub. I dare you.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
Well, you have some stuff for us, Matt, yes?
I do.
Okay, I forgot to warn everybody during the opening that this may be a much shorter episode tonight, and I don't know that we're going to be able to do anything for Patreon because we've got other stuff going on. And so we'll do it for as long as we can before we've got to get and do the other thing. But so this may be a shorter episode, just letting you know now. All right, what do you got for us?
The American Civil Liberties Union filed suit Wednesday against the state of Michigan, challenging a law that allows adoption agencies to spurn political LGBT parents under the guise of religion.
Oh, fine, great. So is it that they don't want to, it would be against the person's religious beliefs to work with these gay people?
You got it.
Oh, fuck that.
Religious exemption laws let people, churches, and sometimes corporations cite religious beliefs as the reason not to enforce a law. Such as declining to marry a same-sex couple or letting state-funded foster agencies refuse to place kids with same-sex couples. So it's the same bullshit we've been hearing about, but the ACLU is suing them now. So the Michigan adoption law leads to fewer options for children when the pool of qualified adopters is diluted, as well as diluted, I suppose, if they're religious.
Yeah.
Because of unreasonable legislation, ACLU lawyer Leslie Cooper said. There's a desperate need for families. We need more families, not fewer. Michigan governor, our favorite, Rick Snyder. I can't believe that fucking guy.
Rick
is
Snyder.
still there. Signed the state's controversial bill into law in June 2015. The law, in essence, lets faith-based agencies say no to prospective parents if saying yes violates the group's religious or moral beliefs. Which means fucking anything they want. When you frame it like that.
Yeah.
Religious or moral beliefs. Well, that's fucking everything. It's whatever I say it is.
Yeah.
The ACLU is hoping for a clearer ruling in court that says private agencies, ones receiving taxpayer dollars, can't turn away potential adopters if they don't share the agency's religious convictions. Religious exemption bills made up the bulk of anti-LGBT bills that wove their way through state houses this year, according to the Movement Advancement Project, a think tank that researches and analyzes laws with LGBT implications. 45 exemption bills were introduced in 22 states. Michigan is one of 7 states with adoption exemption laws on the books, 3 of which were passed in 2017. The others, Alabama, Mississippi, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, and Virginia, all shit states. These bills are primarily driven by anti-LGBT animus. However, because explicitly targeting LGBT people would be clearly unconstitutional, the bills are written very broadly. MAP executive director or something. I don't even know how to start pronouncing that name. Very few people understand how profoundly harmful the effects of this type of legislation could be.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Very harmful.
Yep, very. Excellent addition, Dan. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here for you, my friend.
Well, I think I'd seen one of the articles. I can't remember if it was Pathos that did one on that, basically likening it to say, hey, well, I guess EMTs no longer have to provide service for certain people anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to ask them when you get on scene, right? Like, oh, wait, what religion are you? Also, are you gay? Because I don't cotton to helping no gay people.
Or just turn it around and say, well, I'm not going to help any religious people or people who are bigots.
Mm-hmm.
And since this person's passed out, I don't know which one, so I'm not going to do anything. And that's my moral, deeply held religious belief on that. So
yeah, businesses will have you start filling out a questionnaire when you
have access to your Facebook. Like, hey, unlock your Facebook. Let me see it. Okay. That picture don't look queer. That one don't look queer. That one there, that looks a little.
Why in the hell are you taking pictures of rainbows?
It's a double rainbow.
And why has this fish got a rainbow on it? What in the hell's going on there? I'm tired of you people.
You are denied from buying from our craft store.
That kind of reminded me, I was also arguing with people, and it was another thing that I planned to do and wasn't able to do, but I planned to write a big thing about being a bigot against the gay community.
But you're not a bigot against the gay community.
Well, I just want to let everybody know that, maybe I am. But no, to argue with people, there's the case that's going to the U.S. Supreme Court about the gay bakers, or gay bakers, the bakers who would not make a cake for the gay couple.
One out of Colorado?
Yeah. And we made a post out on the Atheists of Utah Facebook page about it. And of course, all of the libertarians, and I was a libertarian in my young and reckless youth.
In your dumb days.
Uninformed, ignorant, politically naive youth where I didn't know how the world actually worked.
Yeah. That's where they stay.
And so we made this post out on the Facebook page, and a bunch of libertarians, and I think people who may not even identify as libertarian, but are just wholly ignorant of how the government works and the court works and how laws work and how businesses work. Like, they're just like really naive and ignorant about a lot of shit. Started chiming in with, well, I support this baker, and you should, as a business owner, be able to deny service to people that you don't want to serve. It's your business. You don't have to serve whoever. What if a Nazi came in and wanted me to make a cake, or or somebody who hated gay people wanted me to make a cake that says fuck the gays or, fuck the queers or kill gays or whatever. Would I have to make that cake for them?
That's where people lose it. A gay cake is no different than a straight cake.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not asking them to put anything different on there. I can see if someone comes into your shop and says, hey, I want you to make a cake with Adolf Hitler's face on it and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not making that.
But what if they want a fruit cake?
Then you make it.
That's the gayest of cakes.
But I mean, if you're already making fruit cakes, it's on your list.
Shove a bunch of fucking gummy bears in there and so God, I hate fruit cake. It's the worst.
But so the bakers denied making this cake for this gay couple, and there's a bunch of people who are just ignorant about how things work out there making comments about, well, businesses should have the right to deny service to anybody that they want for any reason. And I'm like, no, you can't.
It's not how this works in public space.
You ever heard of the Civil Rights Act of 1964?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. There are certain protected classes of people that you cannot discriminate against. You cannot discriminate against people on the basis of their religion or on the basis of the color of their skin. That Civil Rights Act did not cover members of the LGBTQ community, but Colorado has their own separate law that does.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that business does have to create a cake for a gay couple. And the whole thing is, like, the baker didn't know what they even wanted the cake to be. He never even asked them. He found out they were gay and basically said, no, I'm not going to serve you.
Yep.
I don't care what the fucking cake looks like. It could be just a completely nondescript white sheet cake with no writing on it. I'm not serving you because you're gay. Get the fuck out of my store.
That cake got Merrick Garlanded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But remember,
doesn't matter who it is, what you're putting up, what the cake's going to be. It doesn't matter. We're not doing it.
We're not even
going to look at it. Not
even going to ask you any questions about it.
Yeah, but these same people had the arguments 5-6 years ago where it was like, no, if the shop owner has to do this, it's like, no, or what was it? I'm trying to remember. I'm all fucked up with my thought on that right now. I don't know where I'm going with it.
It reminded me, though, on my way driving here tonight, I saw a fucking dumbass guy in a long bed pickup on the highway with a "Don't Tread on Me" sticker, and traffic was already bad, and he's weaving in and out, cutting everybody off.
Slowing traffic down that much more for everybody.
Exactly. And I'm like, you're the exact reason why we need fucking traffic laws, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because you're not gaining anything, really, in the big scheme of things, but you're fucking everybody else's day up even more.
Yeah.
And so this is the reason why we need to have little laws and regulations on how to fucking behave, because you fucking libertarians don't know how to do it.
Well, and it drives me nuts because they don't, like, on this post, and a lot of the time whenever I see them commenting anywhere, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They really don't. Like, they say these things that, well, businesses don't have to do that. Well, actually they do. Do you know the law in Colorado? No? Oh, all right. Well, then shut the fuck up. Do you know that businesses can't discriminate on you because or can't discriminate against you on the basis of your religion? Or the color of your skin? No? All right. Well, then shut the fuck up. Yeah. Go and read some shit. Or listen to people who are telling you, no, you're wrong, and here's why.
Yeah.
Don't just say, but my liberties, bro. And businesses should be able to do that. Sure, businesses can discriminate against a wide variety of people. A ton of people. They can discriminate against Nazis who come in and say, I want a cake that says, kill the Jews. You don't have to make that fucking cake for them.
That's a completely different case, because then you're making something you don't normally make.
Well, it's not even that. It's that you don't have to people can't force speech onto you.
Yeah.
They can't force you to create a cake where you are creating something that could be said that this is the views or you're supporting
that's
this person's
where
views.
with the wedding cake, I couldn't, unless the topper on it is specifically to same-sex people, how do you differentiate a straight wedding cake versus a gay wedding cake? There is no differentiation.
Yeah.
You have a series of cakes that you make in your shop, and these people are choosing a cake you already make in your shop. You're not putting like, hey, put all this gay stuff on it. No, you're ordering a cake that you already make.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're denying your services. And the thing is, it wouldn't matter what your services were. You'd be denying any of that simply because of their specific status or
Yeah.
whatever.
Not because they wanted a message put on it or anything like that. Just because.
Right. And that's textbook discrimination.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's illegal.
And Andrew Torres covered this beautifully on the latest episode of Opening Arguments. I encourage everybody to go and listen to it. He basically laid it all out and said that he doesn't see any way that the baker will be victorious in this case because they lost already at the Colorado courts. Now they're going to the U.S. Supreme Court seeking relief through the Supreme Court. And he said, based on the existing Colorado law, based on the circumstances in this case where the baker didn't even ask them what they wanted the cake to say, they're not forcing the baker to write, gays are the best or homo sex is wonderful or anything like that. He didn't even know what they wanted the cake to look like. He didn't bother to ask. Yeah. He just found out they were gay and kicked him out of the store or told them that he was not going to do business with them.
Yeah.
So you can't fucking do that, particularly in Colorado where they have a law specifically saying that you cannot do that. And so you people who get out there and make shitty comments like, business can deny whoever they want. No, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about.
It'll be interesting to see how activist this Supreme Court is now with the ruling like this coming up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because as the law is spelled out right now, there is no clear way that they could rule in favor of the baker. Unless they would have to be they would have to take on the role of an activist and work against existing laws and case precedent in order for this
we already
to change.
know that there's a couple of them that deny precedent.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't have any reason to disagree with Andrew Torres. Of course, he's an expert. I am not. But I'm just saying it'll be interesting to watch and see if, in fact, they do fall in line with the law despite what they want to do, or if they actually feel bold enough to step outside of that and be activists in a what would be a remarkable way that's in this case.
Yeah. Well, and you know what will be really weird about that whole situation if they do step outside and do rule in favor of the cake baker, right? Is that those same judges, I'm sure, and everybody who supports those judges and views things as a conservative and thinks that, no, I don't want to have to make a gay cake and fuck them and gay people are icky and they shouldn't be able to be married either because this is America. I'm conservative. I'm for states' rights. States should have the right to do this thing. Well, that's exactly what we're fucking talking about here, buddy. Colorado, a state, passed a law in that state saying that this is what you have to do. Yeah. So you should be in support of this. If you're all about states' rights, then it should be a no-brainer for you, which is great because you have no brain. So
all they want is the right to have their opinion legislated.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They'll say whatever they want that's politically expedient or convenient for whatever they're talking about. Yeah. They don't have a firm set of beliefs that is always going to be this way, because if something contradicts it, like the Mama Dragon, they'll put it aside. They'll put it on a shelf. She fucking said that to me while we were talking.
She said she put it on a shelf?
Yeah. She said, there's been a lot of things throughout the church and some of the things that have come down and parts of the church history and some doubts that I have. And, for those things and like this, I have to put it on the shelf and I'll revisit it later.
Like, no.
I can't believe you just said that. Get out of my booth.
You're not welcome here. No service for you.
Go away.
Should we move on?
Yes. What do you got?
Lilith O'Neill, 9-year-old. Has been kept from attending classes in Rochester since the city school district denied the religious exemption for a vaccine. That was filed by her father, Joseph O'Neill. Ever since a debunked study linked vaccines to autism nearly 20 years ago, misguided parents have abused religious exemptions to avoid immunizing their school-aged children. The impact has weakened herd immunity and increased risk of disease, like the outbreak of measles that swept California in 2015, leading the state to ban religious exemptions. If New York were looking for another good reason to follow California's lead, one could have been found on the porch of North Goodman Street duplex in Rochester on a recent weekday morning. There sat Joseph O'Neill and his 9-year-old daughter Lilith. Most children, Lilith's that's hard to do.
Lilith's age
would have been in school, which is where she and her father said they would have liked her to be. But Lilith hasn't been in school since last November when the Rochester City School District rejected O'Neill's objection to her receiving the chickenpox vaccine on religious grounds. O'Neill, 42, considers himself a fucking dangerous moron. Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, a Norse pagan. He wears his hair long and has Norse runes and ancient Germanic alphabet tattooed on his left forearm.
Edgy, bro.
Yeah, and he has a Hammer of Thor chain around his neck for all you comic people.
Mjolnir.
Oh, yep. He may be a pagan, he said, but he's also a realist. This is where it gets good. This is where it gets good. Which is why he had Lilith get all the other immunizations required by New York.
But the chickenpox.
Quote, if it's a matter of life or death, then yeah. But chickenpox? When's the last time you heard of someone dying from chickenpox? Okay,
wow.
So not only is he staking the child's life on an anecdote, but I seriously pulled the very first quote from Google, and this is it. Varicella is a highly infectious disease that is preventable by vaccine. Before vaccine licensure. Why am I struggling with these words? Licensure.
It's the L words. I don't know.
In 1995, 4 million cases per year resulted in 9,300 hospitalizations and 100 deaths a year.
So he doesn't know how to work the magic.
That's the first thing that came up.
The magic Pinooter box in the corner.
I still bring paper to the show, and I found that.
But he doesn't know any of those 100, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, when's the last time you heard it?
Right.
When have you known anybody personally to die from chickenpox?
Yeah, we don't know if those numbers are real.
Yeah, I don't trust the news. Who's that?
Yeah, and it couldn't possibly be that he personally doesn't know anybody who's died from chickenpox because people have been getting their fucking kids vaccinated.
For a long time, yeah.
That couldn't be why. Anyway, sorry, Ryan, did I interrupted you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Super chill.
Yeah, I mean, that of course that couldn't be the reason.
Right.
You know, the herd immunity has nothing to do with this at all. What else you got for us?
Try to read it again.
Okay.
More than a quarter of England's secondary schools do not offer religious education, despite the law saying they must, suggests research given to the BBC.
Wait, that they must provide religious education?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
The National Association for Religious Education teachers obtained unpublished official data under Freedom of Information law. It says that missing the subject leaves pupils unprepared.
It's a FOIL law? Freedom of Information law? It's FOIL?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know if...
I totally interrupted you there.
I don't think... Do you include words like of? I don't think so. So it'd be FIL.
Well,
right?
yeah. The Freedom of Information Act, it's a FOIA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
Department of Defense is DOD.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, well, and it depends. I mean, you don't have to, but you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please continue.
It says that missing the subject leaves pupils unprepared for modern life. Do we have a agree or strong disagree on that? Because I think that's fucking stupid.
That's pretty fucking stupid.
It's stupid.
But the main union for secondary head teachers said many schools covered religious issues in other lessons. They might be teaching through... Oh, yes.
You said head teachers.
I did, yeah.
Sorry. I'm fucking giggly, man. Sorry.
They teach head. Secondarily. Quote, they might be teaching through conferences. They might be using citizenship lessons. They might be using assemblies, said Jeff Barton, General Secretary of the Association of School and College Leaders. By law, religious education must be taught by all state-funded schools in England, with detailed syllabuses agreed locally. Yeah, so according to the data gathered in 2015, that was not published until now, it shows that overall 26% of secondaries were not offering religious education lessons.
So this isn't in Merca?
Nope.
No.
Huh. It's over there in Frogville?
It's in the UK.
Oh, fucking frogs over there.
Isn't that France?
No. Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking Limeys. Never mind.
Yeah. So it's over in fucking Frogville. I was like, what? No, it actually isn't.
I'm just going to nod in agreement on a podcast.
I had my national slur wrong. Sorry. My bad.
Hi, this is Michelle Short.
And this is Stu DeHaan.
And we're the co-chapter heads of the Satanic Temple in Arizona.
You're listening to the Godless Rebelution.
For cool Satan swag, please visit the website shopsatan.com.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
Well, we got to run. Thank you very much for paying attention as long as you did to our mindless ramblings this evening. I don't think they were all that mindless. I got to rant about the Mama Dragons.
Yeah.
I'm still fucking mad about it. I don't know how long I'm going to be mad. Probably like forever. I'm just going to be forever fucking mad about the Mama Dragons now. Forever.
Yeah.
Always. I'll just think about it and become angry.
Yeah.
Or until next week.
Yeah. Until next week, when I'll get to rant about it some more.
Yeah.
I'll just hang on to it, and until then, let it grow like a cancer inside, spread, and then release it, gush it out in here in the studio.
Just don't gush too much.
Before we go, I want to make sure that we thank our Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You really do help in producing the show and keeping things going for us. That would be Mr. Larry Wilson, Marius Butrakowski, Dr. Dan Matt's boss from the 2SC podcast, to whom we pledge loyalty, Janet Uter, Let Them Eat Kafefi, Stephen Andrus, Mo Cowbell, Christy Kalbach, Casper. That's right. I keep forgetting what we're going to call that person. I should just write Casper instead of anonymous no name. Well, yeah. Megan Kennedy, Andrew Vodopich, Alicia Gerhardt, Brandy Hamrick, Jeremy Goodson, Angelica Pearson, Andy Faulkner. Sorry, Andy. Utah Outcasts, Wes Aaron, Taylor Grin. Fuck you and your I still don't qualify rules, Mr. Grant Larimer, the Purple Dragon. You need to see it now. Whenever I think of Grant, I'm going to be thinking about the Mama Dragons, too. Purple Dragon, Mama Dragons. It's going to fucking make me angry. Savat Acuna and the Gaytheist Mr. Aaron Burton. Thank you all so very much for your patronage. If you too would like to become a supporter of the show, you can do so by going to patreon.com/GodlessRebelution, and where you can make a pledge for as little as $1 per episode, and we would greatly appreciate you doing so.
Indeed.
Oh, and I'm sorry, we probably won't have a Patreon thing, but you'll get it early. Yay!
Yay!
Dun, da, da. So until next week, crucify that like button.
Leave a review to achieve nirvana.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward Mecca.
You're going to be part of this show. Turn the TV off and then back on again.
Have you tried restarting?
Have you tried turning it off and then back on again?
On my phone, when it showed that you were casting, fucking whatever the shit you like to watch.
Oh,
little...
News, informative bullshit.
Oh, it's the same shit every night, though, man. God.
Yeah, she thinks I'm her savior from Oscar because she.
Oscar?
I mean, from Oliver.
Yeah, she's a fuck up because I'm a